And they're professionals. So respect the opponent at all times, but I would be really disappointed if the Hawks don't pull this one off.
Now, in an ideal world, the Seahawks beat the Bears on Thursday night, and then the Arizona Cardinals beat the Rams, and in Week 18, you have a bit of power left with you to win for the NFC West, right? To win that game, win the division. If the Rams beat the Cardinals, well, then at that point, strength of schedule, tiebreaker is gone, and you are essentially eliminated. Like, not mathematically, there's still some weird stuff, but you are probably eliminated if the Rams win. What I don't want to see is the Seahawks lose this game and then the Rams lose. And it's like it was in your control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the worst feeling. The worst feeling is when the thing that seems unlikely that you needed to happen, that was completely out of your control, happens, breaks the way you want, and you didn't do your job.
Yeah, you take care of business. You handle what you're supposed to handle. Now, I'm going to read you two scenarios. This ain't from me. Got a great producer for the Seahawks pregame show, NASA Chobe, so you will hear me rattle this off in a few hours. So if the Rams lose to the Cardinals, the Week 18 game between the Seahawks and the Rams will be for the NFC West, regardless of if the Seahawks win or lose on Thursday. If both the Rams and the Seahawks win, the Seahawks can still win the NFC West. However, it's not as simple because in that scenario, a Seahawks Week 18 win would have both teams with the same record, a head-to-head split, the same NFC West record, the same record in common games, and the same conference record. The fifth tiebreaker after all of that is strength of victory heading into Week 17. The Rams have the edge there. If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, it means that it comes down to the one of the last tiebreakers before it's like, fine.
Yeah, it's like, look, you got a chance, but it ain't looking too good. So, look, there's still a possibility for these guys to want to pull this off. The best part about this, I think, in my opinion, is that we get to watch them play on Thursday, hopefully get this W, and then sit down and watch the games this weekend. And not, well, for me, I'm sure you watch. Well, you go to the games anyway. But I can give it all my attention. I can focus. I'm going to put on a red shirt and root for the Cardinals like I went their alma mater or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I am full Cardinal this weekend.
Just everything that happens. You know how we do?
This is how we do. I told you, Kyler. I told you. But you got to win.
I don't know what Cardinals
got to win tonight, though. I don't know. What
Roll Tide.
I feel like Cardinals are a little softer, I feel like. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's what I feel.
That's what I'm going to do after every tackle for like... It's going to be amazing. Yeah, this is obviously a must-win situation. And I was listening to Brock and Salk talk about it this morning, and they're not wrong. The Seahawks have no business to be talking about the playoffs if they can't beat the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that sounds harsh. It's a harsh way to say it because there's a part of you, especially as a former player, that wants to go, well, any given Sunday, you never know what could happen. Like, the margin of talent between all NFL teams is not that drastic. Everyone gets high draft picks. Everyone gets mid-draft picks. Everyone gets a chance. There's parity with the salary cap. Like, it really is any given Sunday, or Thursday in this case. But I'm sorry. I have to agree with them, Bump. You have no business being like, well, hopefully no, at this point, you're not a playoff team. You haven't proven that you can be one.
Yeah, playoff teams typically don't win 9 games in a season. You get into the double digits, and you've kind of proven yourself. The Bears did beat the Rams early in the season. All right, I'm gonna stay with this optimistic or not even optimistic. I'm gonna stay with the prepare for anything scenarios because we've seen games where this team just doesn't play well. So the Bears did beat the Rams early in the season, 24-18. We know the Rams were banged up at that time. They did barely lose to the Lions a few weeks ago, 23-20, and we know the Hail Mary that they lost to the Commanders. So they have shown that they can hang around. But just like the Seahawks, when I watch them on film, when I look at their numbers, I compare what I'm seeing, it looks like an immature team, and that's kind of how we labeled the Seahawks last week or a couple of days ago when we were talking about them. Like, look, they're just an immature team. So when you have teams that are immature, that means they're inconsistent, and that means things can happen. There have been games where Caleb Williams looks great. He's thrown for 300 yards, 3 or 4 times this year.
Yeah,
he looks great. And there are times where he's holding on to the football, and he doesn't look great. There are times where Geno Smith is moving the football down the field, 2-minute drill, connecting passes, putting everything together. He looks great. And there are times where we get into that red zone, and bad things happen. That's why I look at this game and I tell myself and everyone listening, nothing is guaranteed. You should beat the Bears. I'm with you. If you don't beat the Bears, you don't really deserve to be in the playoffs. I am with you. This is just going to be a wild game. You're in Chicago. You're outdoors. I mean, the football player in me is like, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. But you always know that your opponent is capable of having one of those games where they just play out of their minds. I just hope it isn't tonight.
I would not be, says the 425, surprised in the slightest if we lose this game. Gino and the offensive line, mainly the offensive line, give any team a good fighting chance against us. I hear what you're saying. However, I think that some faith has been lost following two games against really good teams. The Packers might be, I mean, with injuries to the Lions, the second, third best team in the NFC right now. The Vikings are in a fight for the number one overall seed at 13, and you know what I mean, too. These were two very, very good teams that would have won their division if their division didn't include the Lions.
Yep.
I think that if you jump back to the games before then, you find the Seahawks getting the better of opponents that have more flaws, and I would put the Bears in that category.
Yeah.
Like, I would be surprised to see the Seahawks lose to the Bears, really struggle against the Bears, and I think it would be damning, and we'd have to come in.
You'd be surprised.
I
would not be surprised.
I wouldn't. Okay, I'll rephrase. You can never, by virtue of what the NFL is, be shocked at an upset, right?
No, I think you can.
But I think that, like, are we really going to look at the Seahawks getting badly beaten by the Packers, almost beating the Vikings, and going, oh, these two losses, this team will probably lose to the Bears. I wouldn't be surprised. The Bears are so bad. They are so bad. I am not looking at the Seahawks' performance against two very good NFC teams and going, watch them lose to this horrible team. They are better on paper in every single category.
On paper, they are.
In every single category.
When you watch the film, though, it tells a different story. I see things that the Bears do that can give the Seahawks problems.
Sure.
It's the matchups, right? On paper,
what are those things?
On paper, yeah. I don't want to. I got to save it for 4 down.
Oh, you're right.
Give you a little bit.
You got a long day.
I'll give you a little bit. They make teams right now, at least, they're doing things to get the football out of Caleb Williams' hands quicker. Right, you got a new coordinator. He's been through some stuff this year. He has 60 sacks. So what do? You get the football out of your quarterback's hands quickly, and that's the thing that scares me is that they're throwing screens and they're getting out there, and they have personnel on the outside. We're talking about them on paper. Paper don't show you that DJ Moore is a deep threat, that Keenan Allen will route you up, that Roma Duze is a baller, that Swift can get her done. So, yeah, I get it. There's 2 games that are going to be played. There's one on paper that says over the year, this is who they've been. But then there are those little moments, because that's all football is situations and it's moments to where you say, if they can execute that at a high level, it could give this team problems. The Hawks should win this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a close one or if the Bears pull it off.
I don't know. I'm going to stick with it. I feel like sometimes I just kind of think like, well, I don't know as much, but I'm going to stick with this being something where if they lose, it'll be a massive disappointment. And I think they should feel disappointed and they should feel like they lost to a worse team.
You should.
You know what I mean? It should be something like, I don't see this as evenly matched. Like if it was something like, I won't be surprised at all if the Rams beat the Seahawks in week 18. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Why would I be shocked knowing that the Rams have typically gotten the better of the Seahawks in recent seasons and knowing that these two are pretty evenly matched and that the Rams have been the much hotter team between the two? I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would be surprised with the Bears. I'm gonna be stubborn with it. I would be surprised.
Yeah, so you're allowed
and I'll
to.
Be very disappointed.
You're allowed to.
And I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that like I wouldn't let the last 2 weeks shade what the Seahawks should look like against dramatically worse teams on paper. Now, to Bump's point, the Bears are good at some things that don't show up on paper. But I don't know. I mean, I think this is where your head coach gets put to the test and you go, well, what about these defensive improvements, Mike? You know what I mean? Like, hey, you're telling me that DJ Moore, is as good a receiver as anyone else and would be talked about just as much on a playoff team if he wasn't on the Bears. Well, then it's up to you and your passing defense. You built an elite pass defense with Baltimore, took them from one of the worst in the league to one of the best pass rushes in the league. You're obviously still taking those steps forward with Seattle, but this is a game you should win. This is a game you should outcoach your opponent.
I agree with you 100%. This is a game they should win.
You should not get outcoached in this one.
I'm just pointing out that there's some matchups. Because like when you get 2 fighters, right? And one likes to fight on the ground, one likes to stand up. So you're always going to battle to fight your fight. But every now and then, that fighter who likes to fight on the ground closes his eyes and hits that chin and drops somebody. They have a close your eyes, hit you on the chin, and drop you aspect to their game. It's just, are they going to be able to do it? They're 4-1. They've lost 9 in a row. The Hawks should beat them.
Yes.
If we walk away from this game and the Seahawks lose, what does that mean? That means everything's in question. That means Geno's in question. DK's in question. They're going to talk about Grubb. They're going to talk about Mike McDonald. Like, the implications of this is great. Whether it's playoffs or not, you're supposed to win this game. It's supposed to look a certain way. If I were to look at their backfield right now, with their running back situation, I'd probably take their running back. If I look at their trio of wide receivers right now, if we were to swap, I'd probably take their trio of wide receivers. They got O-line issues, so you should be able to get after the quarterback. It's just who's going to make the plays. And when you're dealing with immature teams on both sides, it's so random. The randomness of this season and the randomness of this season and the way that the Bears have played in moments is crazy to me. Like, I'm watching these games and I'm looking at the film, and at times the Bears are moving the ball down the field, looking great.
Yeah.
Caleb's throwing for 300, and then they turn the football over.
Yep.
Like, they'll do something silly, like on a jet sweep, like hand the ball off, it hits a guy in the stomach, they're fumbling around, they're looking like a JV team, and I'm sitting here looking at our team, and I go, well, who are we to look down at the Bears right now? Because we've done the exact same things.
But you are not as bad a team as the Bears. And this is where I'm pushing back. I'm not. So Denny in Gig Harbor says, Stacy, you're approaching Salk territory, like bet your house, bet your wife, bet your kids. Don't jinx it. You guys are not hearing what I'm saying. I am not telling you the Seahawks will win. I'm saying they should.
Yeah, they should win this game.
I'm saying they should. You guys are turning something I'm saying into something it's not. What I'm telling you is I reject the premise that the Seahawks are just as bad as the Bears. I don't think that's true.
I don't think you said that. I don't think
No,
neither
but
of us
people
said that.
always mishear everything. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm being stubborn about saying the Seahawks should win. They should.
They should
And the
win.
reason I say that is I think that if they lose, I don't want to hear, well, I mean, it's just not their year. No. To Bump's point, that's when I want to hear, well, God, time to really look at everything. You shouldn't lose to this team.